lawsuit filed against Garth Brooks yesterday in California makes multiple serious allegations against the singer.
For decades, the world believed they knew the real Garth Brooks, the cowboy hat, the record-breaking concerts, the voice that turned an Oklahoma dreamer into one of the biggest stars in music history. But behind the fame was a life marked by devastating loss, painful sacrifices, shocking accusations, and a battle that no amount of fame could stop, one that would forever change his life, along with moments that nearly ended everything he had spent decades building. At 64, the story behind the legend is more heartbreaking and more complicated than anyone realized. What really happened to America's biggest country superstar? Troy Garth Brooks was born on February 7, 1962, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and grew up as the youngest of 6 children in Yukon, Oklahoma. Mother Colleen Carroll had once recorded for Capitol Records and performed on television during the 1950s, while father Troy Raymond Brooks worked as a draftsman in the oil industry and taught young Garth the very first guitar chords at home. Family talent nights filled the household growing up, with music sitting right alongside a fierce work ethic passed down from 2 very different parents. One parent believed in dreaming big and encouraged every creative impulse without hesitation, while the other insisted that big dreams required serious, disciplined effort, a balance that shaped an entire future career in ways that became obvious only decades later. Sports came first during the high school years, with standout performances in baseball, football, and track. A track and field scholarship led to Oklahoma State University, where training in the javelin throw eventually gave way to something unexpected: regular performances in local clubs alongside college roommate Ty England. Performances that revealed a genuine gift for connecting with a crowd. Banjo and guitar had already become familiar instruments by that point, learned right at the kitchen table years earlier during those family talent nights. A degree in advertising followed in 1984, a practical choice that honored the influence of a father who valued steady work over any kind of risky artistic gamble. But the pull toward music never faded, and the road to Nashville was already calling louder than any classroom or office job ever could. The first trip to Nashville in 1985 ended in humiliation. Overwhelmed by rejection, the young performer packed up and drove back to Oklahoma after only 23 hours, a defeat that stung deeply but did not extinguish the dream. Marriage to college girlfriend Sandy Mall followed in 1986, along with continued performances on the local circuit, while waiting for the right moment to try again. That moment arrived in 1987, when a permanent move to Nashville finally stuck for good. Every major label passed at first, but persistence eventually paid off at a songwriter showcase inside the legendary Bluebird Cafe in 1988, a tiny venue that had already launched several country careers before that fateful night. A Capitol Records executive named Lynn Schultz happened to be in the audience that night, originally there to scout a completely different performer who never even showed up. A signed record deal followed almost immediately afterward. The self-titled debut album arrived in April of 1989, blending traditional country with arena rock energy nobody had heard before. That first record produced an early #1 hit called If Tomorrow Never Comes, and reached #2 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. The second album, No Fences, changed everything in 1990, spending 23 weeks at #1 and introducing the anthem Friends in Low Places to the entire world. Theatrical, high-energy stage shows followed soon after, complete with wireless headsets, dramatic entrances, and a level of showmanship that turned ordinary country concerts into full-blown rock spectacles. The music video for The Thunder Rolls was pulled from both major country music channels for graphic content depicting domestic violence, a ban that only fueled public curiosity and pushed the song even higher up the charts. Album sales eventually climbed past 200 million units, making this the best-selling solo artist in the history of the United States. 2 Grammy Awards and 17 American Music Awards followed over the years, along with a record 7 wins for Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year, a total no other performer has ever matched. The meeting between Brooks and Sandy Mall happened at the Tumbleweed Ballroom in Stillwater, Oklahoma, of all places. During a fight inside the restroom, that left Mal with a fist stuck in a wood panel while working as a bouncer at the venue. It was a strange beginning, but it led to something real that neither person expected walking into that night. Mal was grounded, smart, and refreshingly unimpressed by big ambitions, seeing a real person rather than a future star. Mal even earned songwriting credits on 2 early tracks, including I've Got a Good Thing Going and the later hit That Summer, proving a genuine creative partnership existed long before any of the fame arrived. The wedding took place on May 24, 1986, right before the permanent move to Nashville began in earnest. 3 daughters followed over the next decade: Taylor Mayne Pearl in 1992, August Anna in 1994, and Allie Colleen in 1996. Fatherhood became a defining source of joy, even as touring schedules made ordinary family life almost impossible to maintain at the same time. Brooks has often described those 3 girls as the single greatest accomplishment of an entire lifetime, far outweighing any award or record certification. Between 1989 and 1993, up to 300 days a year were spent away from home on the road. Mal was left managing school drop-offs, doctor appointments, and sleepless nights almost entirely alone, while a husband performed in front of screaming crowds thousands of miles away. What looked like the happiest years of his career were quietly becoming the hardest years of his personal life. Sandy Mal later explained in a 2019 documentary that a husband who came home from tour felt like a complete stranger. The person who left for the road was simply not the same person who walked back through the front door. And the emotional distance between 2 people who once shared everything kept growing wider with every passing tour. Weeks away turned into months, and every homecoming seemed to bring another award show or industry event demanding attention instead of family time. The constant agitation of millions of fans, combined with non-stop attention, pulling in every direction, created a deep emotional and physical wedge that grew wider with every single tour cycle. Years later, Brooks openly admitted to not realizing just how difficult that isolation had been for Mal, having been swept up completely in the momentum of fame. A formal divorce filing came in Tennessee in November of 2000, citing irreconcilable differences after a lengthy separation. Speaking with Billboard at the time, Brooks explained that both sides had mutually agreed on the split and were focused entirely on shielding the children from unnecessary pain during the transition. The final settlement, made official on December 17, 2001, awarded Mal a reported $125 million, one of the most expensive celebrity divorces ever recorded at that point in history. Despite the painful ending, an unusually structured co-parenting arrangement kept both parents deeply involved, alternating custody every single day at 7 in the morning and 6 in the evening, without fail for over a decade. That consistency gave 3 daughters a stable childhood, despite a very public and very expensive split between 2 parents who had once built an entire life together from nothing. Mother Colleen Carroll passed away from cancer on August 6, 1999. The same woman who had first inspired an entire music career from childhood onward by singing around the house and encouraging every ounce of natural talent. The loss was so devastating that it directly triggered a full retirement announcement from music, made official at a press conference inside a Nashville arena on October 26, 2000. In 2010, Father Troy Raymond Brooks Jr. passed away as well, a former oil field worker and United States Marine veteran who had taught strict discipline and a belief that nothing worth having ever came without real sacrifice. Losing both parents within a single decade stripped away 2 of the most important guiding voices in an entire lifetime. Honoring the memory of a mother turned into an unexpected legal fight of its own. A $500,000 donation had been made back in 2005 to a hospital near Yukon, Oklahoma, with the understanding that a women's health center would eventually carry the name of Colleen Brooks. When that promise never materialized, a breach of contract lawsuit followed in 2009. A Rogers County jury ultimately sided completely with Brooks in early 2012, ordering the hospital to return the original donation and pay an additional $500,000 in punitive damages. A small but deeply personal victory in the effort to keep a mother's memory alive. In April of 2025, longtime songwriting partner Larry Bastian passed away at age 90. Bastian had originally trained as a biologist before turning to music during the 1970s. Bakersfield's sound movement, eventually co-writing signature hits including Unanswered Prayers and Rodeo. Brooks later described the collaborator as a true friend and mentor, first encountered as a young student brand new to Nashville. Grief was not limited to loss alone. In February of 2021, wife Trisha Yearwood contracted a severe case of the coronavirus during a household quarantine, leaving Brooks publicly terrified of losing the person described as an anchor for an entire life. Speaking about those frightening days, Brooks admitted to leaning heavily on prayer rather than superstition, crediting an outpouring of support for helping pull Yearwood through the worst of the illness. Yearwood eventually recovered fully, and the couple later credited that frightening stretch of quarantine with actually strengthening an already strong marriage, using the forced closeness to work through years of unspoken tension. A wildfire threat in 2006 added even more anxiety as flames tore across Oklahoma and came dangerously close to a family ranch holding decades of history and memory, forcing an emergency evacuation while firefighters battled to save the property from a distance. Just when it seemed the worst was behind him, a new storm arrived, one that placed his reputation under a microscope. In 1999, an entirely different persona named Chris Gaines confused longtime fans completely. A slimmed-down look, a soul patch, and a rock falsetto replaced the familiar cowboy hat for a bizarre concept. Album project meant to launch an accompanying film that never quite found an audience. The film itself never even got released, and the whole experiment sold a modest 2 million copies compared to previous albums that had each sold 10 times that amount. Today, the entire Chris Gaines chapter is left out of official anthologies and rarely discussed in interviews at all. A much bigger public relations disaster arrived in 2014. 5 sold-out concerts were scheduled at the legendary Croke Park Stadium in Dublin, Ireland, a venue steeped in national history and normally reserved for Irish sporting events, with all 400,000 tickets gone within a single day. When city officials only approved 3 of the 5 nights, an all-or-nothing ultimatum led to the complete cancellation of every single show, leaving 400,000 disappointed fans and a furious local economy behind. 8 years later, in September of 2022, an entirely different ending arrived. Dublin officials finally approved all 5 concerts, and every single ticket sold out within hours all over again. Brooks later admitted to taking 5 separate crying breaks during the very first show back, and local reviewers described a night filled with genuine emotion from a performer who had waited nearly a decade for a second chance. Fans who had held on to unused tickets from the canceled 2014 shows were given priority access, turning old heartbreak directly into new memories. What began as total heartbreak in 2014 eventually turned into one of the most celebrated comeback stories in modern touring history. Just when it seemed the worst was behind him, a legal battle emerged that changed the conversation around Garth Brooks overnight. In September of 2024, an anonymous lawsuit was filed in Mississippi under the pseudonym John Doe, seeking to block a woman identified only as Jane Roe from filing a separate complaint in California. According to that filing, Jane Roe had once worked as a hairstylist and makeup artist for both Brooks and wife Trisha Yearwood. The following month, Jane Roe filed a 27-page civil lawsuit in Los Angeles, alleging sexual assault on multiple occasions, including one incident inside a hotel suite during a 2019 trip connected to a Grammy tribute event. Brooks has denied every single allegation completely, calling the accusations an attempted extortion scheme and describing the entire ordeal as feeling like a weapon had been pointed directly at him. Legal experts criticized the decision to publicly name the accuser in an amended filing, a move that sparked a fresh wave of public backlash. Attorneys for Jane Roe responded by seeking maximum sanctions, arguing the naming amounted to retaliation against an alleged victim of sexual violence. In an attempt to speed up proceedings, Brooks pointed to the death of a longtime publicist believed to be a key witness, arguing that fading memories made a faster resolution urgent. But an appeals court denied that request in May of 2026. As of the middle of 2026, the case remains unresolved, tied up in jurisdictional disputes between courts in Mississippi and California, over which state should actually decide the underlying claims. No trial date has been confirmed, no settlement has been announced, and both sides continue standing firmly by their original positions after nearly 2 full years of filings and depositions. This is a civil case, not a criminal one, and Brooks maintains complete innocence throughout every stage of the ongoing legal process. A second love story began quietly back in 1987, long before either performer became famous, when Brooks and future country star Trisha Yearwood met inside an attic studio for songwriters and recorded a demo together as friends while both were still married to other people. Years later, following 2 separate divorces, that friendship grew into something deeper, leading to an on-stage proposal at Buck Owens' Crystal Palace in Bakersfield, California, in front of a cheering crowd who had no idea history was about to happen right in front of them. The wedding took place on December 10, 2005. Retirement from full-time touring lasted from 2000 until 2005, spent entirely inside a modest ranch house in Oklahoma. School drop-offs, packed lunches, and youth sports practices replaced sold-out stadiums completely. A trade Brooks has called one of the greatest gifts of an entire life, rather than any kind of sacrifice at all. The return to full-time performing eventually produced a stadium tour drawing an average of 95,000 fans per city across a cumulative audience near 3 million people, following an earlier arena tour with Trisha Yearwood that sold more than 6 million tickets across 3.5 years on the road. A Las Vegas residency at the Coliseum inside Caesar's Palace sold 99% of every available ticket across 72 individual shows completed in early 2025. A Kennedy Center honor and the Library of Congress Gershwin Prize for Popular Song later joined a growing collection of lifetime achievement recognitions. Recent years brought remarkable new milestones, despite the ongoing legal cloud hanging overhead. In March of 2026, the Recording Industry Association of America officially confirmed a 10th Diamond certified album, an achievement no other recording artist in history has ever reached, earning the brand new Artist of a Lifetime award at that ceremony. Sold-out stadium shows in Milwaukee during June of 2026 were followed by a long-awaited return to British soil, headlining Hyde Park in London on June 27th, marking a first United Kingdom performance in nearly 3 decades. Ongoing pre-trial proceedings continue creating real stress behind the scenes. According to people close to the situation, even as public performances keep drawing massive, adoring crowds night after night, time spent managing a Nashville entertainment venue called Friends in Low Places offers a quieter connection to the city that built an entire legacy. Complete with a rooftop bar known as the Oasis, towering palm trees, and live music playing most evenings. A place where Brooks can greet fans and support local musicians away from courtrooms and touring schedules alike. At 64 years old, the story is far from any kind of fairy tale ending. But through devastating losses, public humiliation, an expensive divorce, and a legal battle still playing out in real time, one thing has remained constant: an absolute refusal to stop standing, singing, and moving forward. From a Tulsa hospital room to sold-out stadiums across the entire planet, the story of Garth Brooks has never been simple. What do you think the future holds for a legend still fighting for a legacy built over decades? Drop a comment down below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real stories behind the biggest names in music.